Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Railworld. In the previous episode we finished off by sorting out the junction between the main base and the oil rail network, which for a long time has been a complete mess. But I didn't actually fix it properly. I thought I had, and then I got confused by some of my old designs and didn't realise that actually it all did matter. And basically what happened is I forgot that as well as the oil section of the tracks being reversed, everything goes anti-clockwise. The train that goes into the main base also does that, so the tracks need to be reversed on this end as well. So we ended up with the plastic train that delivers to the main base being stuck and not able to get back where we wanted to go. And it also explains why there was the weird crisscrossing extra bits before that I destroyed at the end of last episode. I was confused as to why they were there, because they didn't make sense unless you counted that train. And what was actually happening was that train was going backwards around the loop. I'd forgotten that was how I'd set it up originally, but that is actually how it works. And luckily it never caused any problems because of the way the loop was designed. And yeah, the whole thing was a complete mess. But now we've fixed it up, and I've done a little bit more work on it to make sure that things are a little bit clearer. I've moved back this crossover point so it's not in the way of things so much, and it also gives the trains more room to get around each other. I think there was a chance of trains getting stuck before, and now that's been taken away, and I don't think there should be any problems with jams or anything like that on this particular track, and all the trains now go around it in the proper direction. So I could actually implement some chain signals and stuff on it, though the junction isn't used enough for that to be a problem, really. People do keep asking me to put chain signals on things, but the system just doesn't have the throughput for it. The one junction that does, I have put the signals on, and I think they've actually caused problems once or twice because of weirdness with certain things about them. To me, they just add complexity. There are certain times when they're super useful, like when I originally set up the loop that connects the main network to everything else. I had to compromise because chain signals didn't exist. There was a particular system where if I did have chain signals, I could have made it so that there was no chance of trains getting stuck, and I could still have the blocks quite compressed so that trains could move very easily, but it didn't work at the time. But it's still the case that in most situations you don't need chain signals. It's only when things get a little bit complicated. And because I built this whole system before chain signals existed, I'd already built it so it didn't need them. But yeah, that's one of the reasons. It still can make sense to use them, but I just can't be bothered. It's too complicated half the time, and it's just confusing. And in this particular case, it's unnecessary. There we go, that should stop people from commenting about it for the next 10 episodes before everyone forgets again. But anyway, we've gone over to the main base. I've done a little bit of messing about with the module production, and also realised that the advanced circuit production isn't going so great. I think it's something to do with the plastic production, and that is because of the plastic loading into the trains, I think. Just the general oil usage from loading the rocket train has messed up a lot of oil production further down the line. But it should all be normalising now. The train is fully loaded and ready to go whenever we're ready, and that is the plan for the end of the episode. I'll set off in that direction. But first I'm doing a bit of messing about with beacons, something I've never really played with before. I never bothered about them because the way that I play Factorio, I always use efficiency modules for everything, and you don't really need beacons for that unless there's some very rare cases, if any, actually. No, I don't think there are any. As long as you have level 2 modules, you can make any machine of any kind maximally efficient, so you don't need beacons to add to that. But with the oil system, I've set it all up with speed modules. It was a while ago now, but basically I couldn't be bothered building new oil outposts anymore, so we just started upgrading the old pump jacks we have. So all the production rates are 0.1, though interestingly it's now showing us 0.0, which is strange. I'm not sure why that is, whether there's been some sort of change in a recent update, but they are still producing oil, so however much they're making, I want to get as much as I can from each one individually. So basically, the way that beacons work is you can put 2 modules into them, and then any structures within their quite short range will get half of that effect. So basically, a level 3 speed module, that gives a 50% boost to the pump jacks, so they have 2 of them in already, so they're all running at 200%. But if I add a beacon with 2 level 3 speed modules in it next to one of these pump jacks, then it will add another 50% production rate. And you can stack these, so you can get one beacon that affects multiple pump jacks, which is what I've been doing there. So there's 1 or 2 that are affecting 4 different pump jacks at once. So in total, the one beacon with 2 level 3 speed modules in it is increasing, it's basically generating 200% of a pump jack's production extra, spread between the various different pump jacks around it. And this does increase pollution and stuff like that, and we will be seeing more problems with that. But then the pollution situation is already crazy here. Everything's a super deep red. You basically can't see the mini-map. But the biters are so far away that the pollution hasn't reached them, and I've never had to push them back to prevent that or anything. I mean, I've been pushing them back to prevent them getting inside my sort of territory, but it's never been because of pollution getting too close that I've had to do anything about that. So hopefully that'll continue. I'm not sure how much worse the pollution situation will get. It'll probably take a while for it to sort of manifest, really, because pollution travels pretty slowly. But anyway, I've boosted the larger deposit down there, and then the smaller one that has 4 of them in, I'm doing it a bit more sort of efficiently. Like with the first one, I just plonked down beacons where I could fit them, and occasionally moved around some pipes a bit to make room for them, but it wasn't really the best way of doing it. What I really should have done was take out all the pipes and then put the beacons in before them to make sure I could get the most out of it. So that's what I'm doing with the second one, where there's just a group of 4 deposits. Also checking the power situation here. I think the power cutout happened, which I was expecting, because of course it just increased the consumption rate of the pump jacks, as well as, I think the beacons also have a consumption rate. I forget exactly how it works, but basically there's now more power consumption and more pollution, and that is of course affecting the factory. So we'll have to build a little bit more in the way of accumulators and solar panels and so on. But anyway, what I've done on this particular deposit is I've taken out all the pipes, and then I'm putting in the beacons first, so I can get as many beacons in as possible, and then fit the pipes in after. Because, the way I usually set up these deposits is the pipes all go into the middle, because that is the most efficient way. It uses the least pipes, and that gets in the way of any beacons I'd want to put in. So if we do it the other way around, we can get more out of it. It makes the pipe systems a little bit more convoluted, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because you just have them run all the way around the outside, and it works fairly similarly. So the system I used there was I would put in a beacon as long as it was in range of more than 1 pump jack. So we've ended up with something like 6 of them on that deposit, and all the pump jacks are running somewhere in the region of 300 to 400% of what they usually would. And hopefully this will have a noticeable effect on the oil production. It probably won't be enough to actually get the oil rate basically get a positive oil production rate. I think the storage tanks are going to stay empty for crude oil, but it'll help slow down the reduction of oil that we're currently dealing with. And I'll just continue moving around, putting more beacons down next to all the pump jacks we already have, until I just can't do that anymore, and I'm forced to go out and actually build a proper new oil outpost, which I'll have to do eventually. Some people have suggested having some sort of lake-based one, where we have a train that loops all the way around the lake, collects a huge amount of oil from a bunch of random little deposits, and brings it all back to the oil outpost. And that might be a good idea. I might look at that in the future, but for the moment I can't be bothered. It's always really fiddly to sort out oil outposts, I feel like, and I'd prefer to just plonk down beacons and make my factory significantly less efficient than it used to be. I mean, I used to use nothing but efficiency modules in the whole thing, and now it's speed modules all over the place, and productivity modules in all the factories and stuff for processing oil, which is what I've just been working on. Basically, it seemed like there weren't enough chemical plants cracking light oil into petroleum gas. Petroleum gas was dropping quicker than light oil was, so I decided to balance it by adding in another 4 of them, for a total of 20 chemical plants working on that now, though they are all full of level 3 productivity modules, which slows down how quickly they actually work. And I also added in 1 more for cracking heavy oil into light oil. I wasn't sure if it was necessary or not, but it's future-proofing, I guess. But anyway, back over to the main base. I'm putting in some more concrete here. Basically, I was getting fed up of having to walk at a normal speed when I was going in between the main base and the oil outpost, so I just start adding in a bunch of concrete, stretching out in that direction, so that next time I can walk a little bit quicker. I mean, I've already got exoskeleton legs in, but I'm getting used to those now, so it always feels really slow when I'm not walking on concrete, or when I'm not using the exoskeleton legs. Whenever I record an episode of Towns, I just feel painfully slow as I walk around, because I still don't have a power suit in that, though I will very, very soon now. And so everything is just super slow, and it's all on sand as well, which makes it even slower. It's terrible, but soon that'll be fixed, and I'll enjoy the sort of speeds that I've been seeing in Railworld for a good while now. I might even start putting in some blue belts around the place so I can walk on those and travel even quicker. That'd be quite fun. And it is very convenient when I'm going from one end of the main bus to the other, that I could just hop on one of those and get to the other end pretty much as fast as physically possible if I don't like swap out more shields for exoskeletons or whatever. Anyway, looks like we're having a little bit of a problem with the circuit supply at the moment, so I'm just waiting for the train to come back around so I can see how the unloading goes. And one thing that I noticed is that I didn't properly set up the unloading at the main end. I had stack inserters unloading the buffer chests, but loading into the buffer chests were normal filter inserters, which was dumb because it meant the stack inserters doing the unloading were pretty pointless. So what I did was swap those out for stack filter inserters, and that should help a little bit. But it does seem like the circuit production is not going quick enough. When I went over to the circuit outpost earlier, it did seem like there wasn't enough being made, and I think it was something to do with the smelting rate of iron, though the smelting rates for iron and copper should be balanced there, so I guess that if I do any extra smelting there, I'll have to do both of them. Though I'm not sure how well the train unloading system will deal with that. I've already stretched that well beyond what it was ever supposed to deal with, and I don't know if I can really get that much more iron and copper running, even with stack inserters involved. It's a little bit fiddly. I need more blue belts and stuff, so I might do a bit of messing about with the stations or whatever if I want to actually increase that. But anyway, I'm now sorting out the beacons, well, some beacons over on these pump jacks here. There's a nice big group of them, and I can just plonk a bunch of beacons in the middle to get like 3 or 4 pump jacks each, which is pretty nice. Also, as I was running over here to start working on this, I started to realize that there's no copper at the moment. It seems like the belts are empty in the unloading station, and when I checked the train menu to see where the trains were, I discovered they'd all gone round the north of the lake. It seems that all of the trains that deliver to the main base have suddenly decided that the north route is a much better way to get back to the main base, despite being like 10 times as long and not actually properly set up for trains yet. And so they've all gone over there and all got stuck. I imagine there's some other ones going the other way. Well, there'll be like a coal train and a stone train and probably an iron train as well for some reason over there that we'll have to deal with. It seems to have been going for a while because the copper supplies had completely run down, and now the copper plates are running down as well, so we'll have to go up there pretty sharpish to sort that out before everything just grinds to a halt. Luckily, the plan was already to go up there because I was going to take the rocket train and start setting up the rocket production over in Cape Kerbal, so we might as well do that all in one go. And so I'm not rushing particularly to get over there because I want to make sure that the factory is ready for me to not be there for ages while I go and sort out stuff at the other end. So I'm setting up some more power production. I've just gone and got 5 stacks of accumulators and of solar panels so that I can just boost the entire power system by more than 10%, because I need to stop doing it in lots of little increments. I keep running along and putting 1 square of accumulators and a couple of squares of solar panels in, and it's a dumb way to do it really. I should just put more in. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking as much as was available and plonking it all down once, so that should hopefully mean that we don't have too many problems with power for a while, though with all the beacons being added at once, it may be that this is just enough to deal with that and we'll still have the usual power problems. So maybe next time I'm coming by and the production has managed to build up a supply of power production stuff again, I'll just run over it one more time and add some more in. And we now expanded this particular solar panel field so much that we've actually arrived at one of the radar outposts that I set up a while ago. So I just connect that to the main network, and then I also steal the solar panel so I can set up another full square on the end there. Annoyingly, I'm just missing 1 square to round it off nicely, but whatever, we'll do it next time. And that should be fine for the moment. We go back over to the oil outpost to quickly check on the oil levels. Everything seems stable at the moment in terms of the fractions, but then at the moment the train's not being loaded, so that's not a particularly promising sign. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and I imagine continue to increase the production rate of oil one way or another. We added a little bit more concrete before we leave, just giving the bots something to do while I'm gone. I mean, it'll take them 5 minutes, but whatever. We can never order too much concrete production at once because there is only so much concrete in the chest at one time, and it takes a very long time for it to be made, so the the what do you call them? The blueprints could end up timing out. Though I think the timeout time has been increased significantly in recent updates, so that you don't have them run out after like 5 minutes. It's now more like half an hour or something crazy. I have no idea really. I don't use blueprints that often. Though I'm using them more now that we have the blueprint book. I'm slowly gathering more of them, and I'll just get more use of them now that it's so much more convenient to have a bunch in your inventory. But anyway, we set off in the rocket train up to Cape Kerbal, and as we're setting off, we have some explosions up by Iron Outpost 2. It seems that the biters have decided to blow up one of the radar outposts, so as I go by, I'll see about cleaning that up. So I ended up going past Iron Outpost 2, I wasn't paying attention, and we overshot a little bit, but it's fine. All the trains currently running along this line are locked up anyway, so it's not like I'm blocking anything by parking the train in the middle. And we can immediately run out and start blowing up the nearest biter base. There's a couple that have advanced in that I think might be a bit of a threat to the base. There's 3 different ones basically in a triangle around this thing that all could have been responsible and are all a little bit too close for comfort. So I also repair up the outpost, and then I go and deal with these ones as well. The outpost was easy enough to deal with. I just used my bots for it, and all I needed to do was load the turrets with a couple of bits of ammo, and then craft a single solar panel to replace the one that they decided to destroy. They were kind enough not to fully blow up the outpost, so I could. It was just a repair job rather than a complete replacement. Also, we set the forest on fire a little bit with one of those attacks there. And we use some cluster grenades to deal with that. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but cluster grenades are an excellent way of dealing with forest fires, because you just chuck them at the fire and it blows up all the surrounding trees so that the thing can't spread. So it's good to just have like a stack of those handy whenever you're using the flamethrower to make sure you don't accidentally set on fire a huge forest, cause a huge load of pollution, and result in a huge biter attack happening on you. Anyway, we actually go and look at Iron Outpost 2 itself, and I find that... well, half of the miners have finished. It's been a while since we came over here now. I've not really need to come up here because I've already got the entire deposit covered with miners, so I've just left it to its own devices, and it seems that like half the miners have run out and there's not really that much production left anymore. It seems like it might be it might not be that long now before we see the end of this outpost, which is quite a shame really, because this has seen us through huge amounts of production. Like Iron Outpost 1 was a similar thing that saw us through like all our early production. The factory was basically built out of iron from Iron Outpost 2, but it was from Iron Outpost 1, but it was Iron Outpost 2 that really quadrupled our production rate and just gave us stupid amounts of iron to it was enough to complete the game, but then we didn't actually do that. We went and killed biters instead, and it was with the Iron Outpost 2 iron that we used to kill all the biters around the lake, and probably also to build the rails that actually stretch around the lake. So it's quite an important one in the history of the factory, and it seems like it won't be a huge amount of time before we see the end of it, though I do need to consolidate the miners a bit more, or else it'll take forever for the last couple to finish the work. But I decided to just do that later. I want to get up to Cape Kerbal, running out of time for the episode, so we'll just do that some other time. So running along, this train takes quite a while to get up to speed because it's got the same ratio of engines to cargo wagons as the mega train does, but we eventually get there. This track is of course so long that any train can get up to speed eventually. But yeah, as we're running along, I notice there's quite a lot of biter bases closer than before, and then we crash into one, and they bring us to a halt, and I'm trying to pull the train along. We're sort of making progress, but then they blow up one of the cargo wagons, so we managed to escape with the train, but we've lost a load of stuff. And they're blowing up the cargo wagons back there, so I quickly deploy a bunch of bots and use the flamethrower to take out the base, but unfortunately I'm a little bit too late, and I also miss one behemoth biter that snuck past us as we were panicking, and at the end of it, all we have is the engine and one wagon, the one containing the steel, I believe. Everything else was destroyed. Everything that the factory's been working for hours, all of the solid fuel and the plastic that we were working on, all blown up by a biter base that decided to just build itself on top of the rails. So yeah, that's pretty devastating. I'm going to have to go straight back to the main base and rebuild the train. And that was not really part of the plan, and it's a huge waste of work on the factory's part. The oil storage was full before, and now it's all been emptied out by all the production, and that's the sort of production we're not going to get back for a while. So yeah, we couple up with the one remaining wagon that we have and carry on over to Cape Kerbal just to finish the episode so we can turn around and go back. I mean, we can sort out the trains that have all got stuck here, and you can see they're all over here, but yeah, that's pretty bad. We'll have to make sure to have our revenge. But with that, I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.